Welcome, Motenta people. A wise man once said that the quality of our life is defined by the challenges we overcome in life, which include trust and betrayals. A good reminder of the circumstance that surrounded the life of on-screen sensation Debbie Reynolds and her inevitable character in the face of one of the hottest entertainment scandals of an era between her husband and her most cherished friend. Beautiful, talented, and good-hearted, her inspiring soul remains evergreen in the minds of Hollywood fans. How Debbie Reynolds wasted her virginity? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Motenta's channel. Debbie Reynolds, the thrilling Hollywood tale of trust, betrayal, and forgiveness. Debbie Reynolds stylishly took Hollywood by surprise with her beautiful and adorable nature. With her girlish splendor and flair, she hurriedly became a Hollywood rising brand and established her place as a leading lady with that iconic Singing in the Rain performance. This finest American actress with a unique character later became a calculative businesswoman and was very active in the entertainment industry for close to 70 years, a period she earned a lot of accolades, including a Golden Globe nominee as the most promising newcomer for her role as Helen Kane in the 1950s Three Little Words. Reynolds was no doubt a rising force at the time, improving with each production. Some say she was an image to watch on screen, with her gentle look and somewhat fascinating smile. When she appeared in The Unsinkable Molly Brown, the historical film about the excellently animated Molly Brown, her outings as Brown were so emotive that she got a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress. She was active in movies, television, and Broadway productions, and each of those mediums saw her performing excellently and getting nominated for awards for the same reason. To say the obvious, Reynolds' image and lively posture were all over the entertainment arena, acting, dancing, and singing. Recall that Tammy, a song she did in Tammy and the Bachelor, was such a hit that it touched #1 on the music Billboard charts. But while Reynolds was entertaining society, her personal life somehow got mixed up with an incredible love scandal that was not her fault anyway, nor was it in her control to stop it from happening. But years later, she was able to prove to humanity the kind of heart she embodied. Behind the scene, Reynolds' family life was corrupted by trust, scandal, betrayal, heartbreak, and scuffle, though she was able to handle it, as someone said, with grace and dignity, until her last but tragic moment on earth. And what was the issue? Sometime in the 1950s, Debbie Reynolds' name was in the news in a highly publicized love triangle involving her husband, Eddie Fisher, who was reported to be having an affair with her longtime pal, Elizabeth Taylor, after her husband Mike Todd's death. The shock and eventual heartbreak, as Reynolds confirmed their relationship, caused her to divorce her husband and severed her relationship with her best friend, who ultimately betrayed her. But the good news is that several years later, Reynolds dropped her hatred and made peace with Taylor, and the duo remained friends for the rest of their lives. Before this time, Reynolds and Fisher were more like a golden couple within the entertainment circle, young, delightful, successful, and happy because they loved each other. Though facts emerged to suggest that Fisher may have not been a caring husband and father, being a handsome, busy singer, he was reported to have always stayed away from his family for an extended time and took amphetamines regularly. In what seemed like a delicate relationship then, Reynolds would agree that they were hardly together and perhaps stopped going to bed for intercourse after their son's birth. About Reynolds and Taylor, the two's acquaintance dates back to her days as MGM talent, still struggling to break into the industry, just as Todd and Fisher were very close pals. The two men were such buddies that Fisher played a best friend role during Todd and Taylor's marriage, while Reynolds, who was reported to have appeared in the wedding as Taylor's matron of honor, was said to have cleaned her pal's hair a night before the bridal ceremony. So, the two families were closely knitted in love and association. Taylor's action did not just cause havoc in Reynolds' life, it radically changed the lives of her two children, Todd Fisher and Carrie Fisher. The last child was just 2 at the time of the divorce. The story was that soon after her husband died in 1958, Taylor disreputably took away Reynolds' husband, Eddie Fisher, and messed up her name in one of the classic love scandals of all time. And today, critics see these two female screen idols as those who set the standard for future and bigger Hollywood romance outrages. The scandalous love triangle of Jennifer Aniston, Angelina Jolie, and Brad Pitt readily come to mind. It is quite a moment for gold-hearted Reynolds, who still remember the doting memories of her time in high school inside the MGM lot with her friend Taylor, and thought it wise to bury the hatchet. A lady thought of as an inspiration to lots of young American women, grew up the hard way, and had a genuine sense of values that was grounded in faith, love, hard work, and wealth. Life perhaps may have been kind to her because she was kind to humanity, and richly endowed with a kind of conscience scarcely found among Hollywood actresses. Reynolds was born Mary Frances Reynolds in 1932 in Texas to Maxine Harmon and Raymond Francis Reynolds. A humble family with a hard-working father who worked so hard to make ends meet, and a mother who ensured that her kids were morally trained, regardless of their poor social status. She grew up under the Nazarene Church of her dictatorial mother, but her life was such that anyone can't help but praise her mother for instilling in her kids admirable virtues. I was emotionally touched after reading her explanation of her family's financial status as a child. Reynolds stated that they may have been underprivileged financially, but always had food on their table, thanks to her carpenter father, who sometimes finds himself in the desert just to ensure the family remained hale and hearty. One gain she can boast about, coming from a humble beginning, is that she never had to worry about being poor, because it is a situation she had been in before fortune smiled at her. Even as a celebrity, she would appreciate every dollar she made, having been religiously tutored to be grateful and satisfied with whatever comes her way. "I'm trying to inculcate in my kids the same values that my mother gave me," she once said. She was just 16 and a student at Burbank High School when she was given Miss Burbank in a beauty contest after her family relocated to Burbank, California in 1939. It was an indication that her zodiac star was as bright as possible, and she was soon offered a contract to work for Warner Brothers, where she got the name Debbie that she is now famously known with. Debbie was like the thousands of young and pretty teenage girls you can find in poor neighborhoods who never glow in loveliness because they did not have nice dresses to shine their glamour. No wonder during her school days, she was never seen as eye-catching, though some think she was charming but tomboyish. And her family did not have the financial muscle to brush her up, even though her dancing talent was innate. She was rarely invited to school dancing. Reynolds was once quoted to have said that she started a glamorous Hollywood career not knowing how to dress. I didn't even know how to dress," adding that she wore dungarees and a shirt. No money, no taste, and no training. When she made her breakthrough movie, Singing in the Rain, Debbie saw and fell in love with Eddie Fisher, a young actor and singing sensation. The two beautiful youngsters decided to make their romance official in matrimony. And what appeared to be a popular choice, the media was awash in 1955 when the couple cemented their union in a well-publicized ceremony. But the initial euphoria that greeted the marriage died when Fisher started misbehaving. His wrongdoings climaxed when a family friend, Mike Todd, died, and he went over to console Taylor, his wife, but decided to consolidate an illicit romance with a young widow, leading him to divorcing his wife in 1959, and later marrying Taylor and sparking a wildly outrageous scandal. Though Eddie Fisher was chastised career-wise, including halting his television show, it did not stop the union from progressing for more than 4 years before they separated. Although Reynolds and Taylor began at MGM, Taylor was a little ahead of her because at the age of 17 and still trying to find her fit, Taylor was already a star. "We went to school together on the lot. I was just a beginner," adding that they became friends because she respected and admired her so much. At the time, Taylor was marrying Mike Todd, who was her third husband. Despite all that happened, Reynolds told interviewers that she was reconciled with Taylor when they incidentally boarded the same voyage ship heading to Europe. She sent her a note, and she replied in a reconciliatory mood. She added that the two later dined together. She said she did not harbor any hatred at the time because she and her friend were already remarried to different personalities. So it was easier for them to chat themselves up once again and rekindle their friendship. On why she didn't feel any grudge, she explained that women should always stick together for each other, and insinuating that her friendship with Elizabeth Taylor was more valuable to her than what she had with her ex-husband, Eddie Fisher. Expectedly, the emotional and psychological damage caused by that scandal could not be repaired so easily. It was not healthy for either of the parties involved. That was why the scandalous union could not thrive much, Reynolds said, noting that it was good for them to have fallen apart so soon the way they did. Did she say that she owed her a favor for breaking her home? She said that her marriage with Eddie was already heading south before that unfortunate twist, and that she really owed Elizabeth a favor for breaking that whole situation, because her husband and not Taylor is to be blamed for the entire circumstances. One of the things that awestruck me about what Reynolds said is when she went ahead to defend Taylor, suggesting that she felt Elizabeth needed Todd's replacement desperately at the time, and she unfortunately found that in Eddie. Reynolds stated categorically that Taylor didn't intend to destroy her family in any way or that of any other woman. She did what she needed most at the time. And though that may look naturally selfish, she had argued that almost all love scenarios appear to be driven by selfish interest, at least at the start of the relationship. Of course, no one would be so fascinating to Elizabeth Taylor as Debbie Reynolds. When Taylor and Eddie's marriage became sour, or as someone suggested, when she saw a better man in the person of her Cleopatra co-star and longtime crush Richard Burton, she broke up with him and married Burton in 1964. The fact that Taylor died earlier made Reynolds reflect on the long foregone scandal and had terse humor about it. "We were friends for years," Reynolds stating added that she knew all the time that she liked her husband and only used the opportunity she had to go for what she always desired. In her words, she took Eddie to live with her because she liked him too, and she liked him enough to take him without an invitation, she stated hilariously. Recall that after Reynolds forgave Taylor, the two had gone ahead co-starring in a 2001 television movie, The Old Broads. Beyond the hullabaloo surrounding the whole thing, Reynolds only regretted not adhering to the advice that Frank Sinatra, her 1955 co-star in The Tender Trap, had given her. She still remembered Sinatra telling her, "Oh, don't marry Eddie." He believed that she would not be married to a singer because singers like himself are not always faithful. "We're not faithful. It's silly for you to take this on." And when she demanded to know why he would not approve of the marriage, Sinatra told her that he did not believe that Eddie would ever listen to her. But she thought Eddie was lovable, and her mother always thought he was adorable. Eddie was an ex-nightclub singer that rose to fame with his smooth voice and prince-charming looks as he began a national TV show. He was said to have alleged losing his virginity to a call girl at the age of 15 and was once seduced by Marlene Dietrich. At the time, Eddie was already frolicked with the likes of Judy Garland and Anne Margaret, among other female stars, so he was an obvious philanderer, the reason Frank Sinatra had warned Reynolds, who was a virgin when she met Eddie, not to hook up with him. Regardless of all that happened, Eddie remained an important thing in Reynolds' life as the father of her only 2 children. So she said, "I will ever be grateful. Our door is always open to him." Just like her true nature, she believes in peaceful coexistence between her and the father of her kids. Reynolds' second marriage to Harry Carl for over 12 years came and went with little to show, apart from the fact that she found herself in bankruptcy because of the bad gambling habit of her husband. After the union ended, Reynolds found herself for the 3rd time with real estate developer Richard Hamlet in 1984, but the marriage also severed in 1996. Fans were shocked when suddenly the news broke that Reynolds was hospitalized after being diagnosed with an adverse reaction to a medication, leading to her canceling an already billed concert appointment for the coming 3 months. Though she recovered, the sudden death of her daughter on the 23rd of December 2016 may have triggered another reaction as she was confirmed dead some hours later the same day. Her death at the age of 84 was later attributed to intracerebral hemorrhage, with hypertension as a contributing factor. It seems like Sinatra said the truth. Singers can't be faithful. How was Nancy Sinatra humiliated by Frank Sinatra's flings? Watch this video.